What's going on, everybody? Damage here, and I want to talk to you about one of my personal favorite items in the game, very near and dear to my heart, and that item is called Death's Dance. Now, a lot of people might be asking, what the hell is Death's Dance? Well, that's the title of this video, and I'm glad you clicked on it so you can find out. There are three parts to this video. Number one is, what are the numbers behind Death's Dance? Is it efficient? Should I buy it? Number two, what are you buying instead and why are you doing that? You're an idiot. And number three is when you should actually buy this item. So if you sit back, relax, and enjoy, you'll get to find out all of its great information. So Death's Dance is one of the most statistically efficient items you can buy in the game. Now, what I mean by statistically efficient is if you take the items in terms of their components, you add them together and you determine the total cost, you see how many stats you get, you figure out whether or not this is efficient compared to other items you can buy in the game, because the game itself is what determines whether it's efficient or not. The other items do. So in Death's Dance specifically, it costs 3,500 gold. You get yourself 75 attack damage, you get 10% cooldown reduction, you get 15% lifesteal, and you get 15% spell vamp. And when you combine all those together, without the passive alone, those items are super efficient. You get 110% of gold efficiency, and it doesn't count the damage over time passive, which we'll go into a little bit later. A lot of people end up buying other items instead of Death's Dance that are just as situational as Death's Dance. And I'm being very serious here when I tell you that a lot of people make very wrong decisions, and they need to look at the type of champion that they're playing before they make the right type of decision making on what item to buy. I'm talking about, is your champion use mana? Does your champion rely on having some kind of ratios for their magic damage? Does your champion get the benefit of an auto attack reset and maybe wants a sheen instead? These are all type of questions that you need to consider before you go out and buy Death's Dance. This isn't a one-size-fits-all elo. You're not going to instantly jump to gold or something by buying a Death's Dance. I wish, personally, but it's not going to work that way. So considering all these items, think about the situation that you're in and what you want. Now, most people will go out and buy either Hextech Gunblade to get the spell vamp, they'll buy a Bloodthirster to get that lifesteal, they'll buy Ravenous Hydra probably most often to get the lifesteal, or maybe they'll go for like Yomu's or Blade of the Rune King. They're kind of similar items and they give you similar stats. So a lot of people ask me, well, how do you make the determination? Step 1, are you an AD caster? Now, what is an AD caster? Let me tell you. An AD caster is somebody who is building primarily attack damage, but gets most of their damage off through a couple of spells in a rotation. I'm talking about your Riven, I'm talking about Graves, Illaoi, a couple others, Pantheon, Kha'Zix. Those guys are guys that don't auto attack that much because you're just using your Q or you're using your E or whatever it is that your champion does. You just want to spam the shit out of that, and that's all you're going to do. So in this situation, if you're an AD caster, that's when you got to start thinking, should I build Death's Dance? Now, moving on, you got to ask yourself, what kind of situation am I in? Am I my team's frontline damage? Am I going to be diving their whole crew and trying to get a quick burst off, get a quick kill? In those specific cases, it might be more worth it to buy more damage. So maybe like a Yomu's is more worth it on a Pantheon than it would be, for example, on Illaoi. While who does have a ton of burst, Illaoi really needs to be in the center of the mix, getting bursted, getting fought on to actually do the most of her damage, and having those 5 tentacles slap the shit out of everybody. That's what she does. Now that I've convinced you to actually try this item, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be jumping in the comments. They're going to be typing, dude, when do I actually build this item though? You didn't really tell me what time, when, what item order, how do I do it? And I'll tell you, it's not that hard, okay? Now, you don't want to buy this item first because that doesn't make sense. The way the passives work is it bases its healing on how much damage you actually deal. So if you're not dealing any damage, it's obviously not worth it. So I would say if you're an Illaoi, buy your Black Cleaver first. If you're on a, Fiora, buy your Ravenous Hydra first. Whatever shitty build you're doing, do that first, and then consider buying Death's Dance. Maybe second or at earliest, but more likely third or fourth item. because at that point you're going to have the actual base stats to survive and be pseudo tanky, if you know what I'm saying. When you actually have that Black Cleaver health, when you actually have the lifesteal already built into your kit, then at that point is when you get the most benefit out of those stats and out of the raw passives. So I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you consider buying this item in the future. Signing out.